Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Online Presenters. It's a pleasure to be here and happy Toastmasters New Year. Online Presenters, we're a virtual advanced Toastmasters club, and we don't just practice speaking, we strengthen our voice, our presence, and our impact. I'm Dr. Sunny, your Sergeant at Arms, for another 20 minutes. Our theme tonight is Fresh Starts. Every meeting gives us a new opportunity to begin again or try a new technique, share a story, or discover a little more confidence. We'll find out just a little bit more from our Toastmaster of the Day in a few moments. And remember, the word of the day, well, you'll find that out too, but it's rather invigorating. Guests, we're delighted you're here. Our membership is open to current or former Toastmasters if you've completed at least 6 speeches. However, if you're an experienced presenter, you may also apply after you deliver a brief speech. And also do that before the club, and know that all requests for membership are subject to approval by our club members. This is a global club, and we have members from all around the world. Please communicate with respect, kindness, and professionalism as we support one another's growth. This meeting is being recorded. Please check the chat if you prefer to opt out, but we'd love to see your friendly face and your kind voice. And last, mute your microphone when you're not speaking. May tonight be a fresh start that leaves you feeling a little invigorated. And at this point, please help me welcome our club president, Joni Laidlaw. Welcome, Joni.
Thank you, Sunny. Won't be club president for very much longer because it's invigorating. Out with the old, in with the new. Happy new Toastmasters year, everyone.
Yes.
Now, congratulations to us because we ended the last Toastmasters year with the highest possible Toastmasters designation. We hit it. It was the first time. It took a lot of work, but we did it. For everybody else who is resting and on vacation, I can completely understand. I'm happy that you're here. Don't sleep for too long, though, because you know what? We're in the new year. We have a lot to cover and a handover to do. So with that, I will be calling on, well, technically, I believe it would be me to do the tip of the day. But because I'm doing the tip of the day, I'm going to call on our Toastmaster of the day who will be taking us through so that, like I said, I talk to myself all the time. It would be nice to hear my voice from somebody else. Our Toastmaster of the day today is Dr. Andrew Byrne, and he will be taking us through our first meeting. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Joni. Welcome, everybody. We're very happy to see each and every one of you here. Hopefully, you've all opened up the agenda, which is very nicely laid out with the Toastmasters program. According to our timed agenda, which we try to follow closely, the outgoing president has just spoken, and our meeting theme is fresh starts, new beginnings. The word of the day is invigorating. Try to use that when you have an opportunity to speak. We are going to be doing an induction of new club officers, and this program that we're going to do is going to be led by Marianne Grady. So I turn over the floor to her and let her do the installation of new club officers. Floor is yours, Marianne.
Well, thank you, Dr. Byrne. Members and guests of Online Presenters Toastmasters, today we gather not only across time zones and screens, but across shared purpose to communicate with clarity, lead with confidence, and support one another in growth. This ceremony marks a transition, the passing of responsibility from one leadership team to the next. Though our club meets online, our commitment is real and our community is vibrant and our mission is global. Tonight, we honor those who have served and welcome those who will carry the torch forward. Before we install our new leaders, we pause to recognize outgoing officers. You have guided online presenters with dedication, creativity, resilience. You kept the club thriving, our meetings engaging, and our members supported. To each outgoing officer, your service has strengthened this club, your leadership has shaped our culture, and your legacy continues in the hands of those who follow. Thank you for your commitment. I'd like everyone at this time to unmute and give them all a round of applause because they've done a wonderful job this year carrying us over to Smedley. Great job, everyone. Thank you. I now invite the incoming officers of Online Presenters Toastmasters to virtually step forward. I will name the newly elected members of the executive committee. We have President David F. Carr, DTM, Vice President of Education, Annie Martin, DTM, Vice President of Membership, Graham Cairns, DTM, Vice President of Public Relations, Allison Blakeman, Secretary, Dr. Andrew Byrne, DTM, Treasurer, Sarah Idahan, DTM, and Sergeant at Arms, Karthika Devi Venkataram. Now, we also have our immediate past president, who is Joni Renee Laidlaw, DTM. That's a lot of firepower, a lot of DTMs in that executive committee. I think we're set up for success this year. These individuals have accepted the responsibility of leadership in a club that models excellence in online presenting. Their work ensures that every meeting is a place of growth, connection, and inspiration. Incoming officers, leadership in Toastmasters is both an honor and a commitment. You are entrusted with upholding the Toastmaster mission for our club, to provide a supportive and positive online learning experience in which members develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And the theme for the year, excellence in online speaking, sounds like a great fresh start and a new beginning. What do you think? As officers of online presenters, your responsibilities include supporting members in their educational goals, ensuring meetings run smoothly and professionally, welcoming guests and fostering belonging, maintaining club standards and integrity, modeling excellence in online communication, encouraging innovation, creativity, and engagement. Please respond, "We do," when I ask the next question. Do you collectively accept these responsibilities and commit to serving Online Presenters Toastmasters to the best of your abilities?
We do.
Thank you. Now I'm going to do the individual officer charge. And since two of our officers are not here tonight, I will read what their responsibilities are just so we can have them installed, but I won't be waiting for a response. President David Carr, you are the guiding voice of the club. You set the tone. You uphold the mission and ensure every member feels valued. Do you accept your responsibility, David?
I do.
Vice President of Education, Annie Martin, you are the architect of member growth. You guide educational journeys and ensure meetings support learning. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Vice President of Membership, Graham Cairns, you are the welcoming heart of the club. You help guests become members and members become family. Do you accept this responsibility?
Most indubitably.
Well, thank you, sir. And Vice President of Public Relations, Allison Blakeman, you are the storyteller of Online Presenters. You share our message with the world and amplify our impact. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
Thank you. Secretary Dr. Andrew Byrne, you are the keeper of records, ensuring continuity, clarity, and accuracy. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
For Sarah, the treasurer, she is the steward of the club resources, maintaining transparency and trust. And for the sergeant at arms, Karthika Devi Venkataram, she is the guardian of our meeting space, even if it's online, ensuring readiness, order, and professionalism. Now, our immediate past president, Joni Laidlaw, while not elected, this role is an extremely important one. You ensure continuity. You serve as a guide to the new president, helping them navigate challenges and responsible for assembling a slate of officers for the next Toastmaster year. Do you accept this responsibility?
I do.
Now, although we meet virtually, symbols still matter. I ask that each officer place a hand over their heart as a gesture of commitment, then raise your other hand. This symbolizes your promise to lead with integrity, serve with humility, and uphold the values of Toastmasters. Thank you. By the powers vested in me by the Toastmaster gods, I now declare you officially installed as the officers of Online Presenters Toastmasters. Members of Online Presenters, leadership is not a solo act. These officers cannot succeed without your support. I charge you to participate actively, encourage one another, welcome guests warmly, offer feedback generously, embrace growth courageously. Together, you create a club culture that makes Online Presenters exceptional. To the new officers, lead boldly. To the members, engage wholeheartedly. To the club, continue shining as a model of online excellence. May this year be filled with invigorating creativity, connection, and transformation. Congratulations, Online Presenters. Your new leadership team is installed. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Let's hear it for them, everybody.
Actually, I want to take a moment to say something, just as the incoming president. One thing about me is I was the original president of the club when it started in 2017, which means I get to be president again for our anniversary year. Our 10th anniversary is coming up in 2027, about March-ish or so. We, with the help of Graham Cairns, Andy Byrne, were both original members of this club. Some other people who aren't active with our club anymore, but are still very important Toastmasters leaders, like Carol Prahinsky, helped us get started. In 2017, we became very popular in 2020 when people had to figure out how to deal with COVID. We members of this club kind of went out into the world and taught a lot of people about how to operate a Toastmasters meeting online. And that was a great experience. We've done good things in this club. In that 2020 year also, towards the end of it, we actually held our own conventions, sort of. We got together with some other clubs and we put on this thing that we called VTM Con, Virtual Toastmasters Convention. We did it successfully for 2 years, and then we got in trouble in the third year because we were being very creative, we were being very innovative, and Toastmasters International told us we're being too creative and too innovative, and that we were painting outside the lines, and that we were sort of forming a virtual organization with these other clubs, and we weren't an official business unit, so they slapped us down kind of hard. And Joni and I, who were running that third big event, managed to put it on anyway. And so we've had our adventures here. I think we're going to have more adventures in the coming year. I would like to do something big and ambitious, and I'm not sure what it should be yet in 2027 to celebrate our anniversary. I think there are ways that we could work around the static that we got from TI a couple of years ago. But one other thing I did want to mention is that I am conscious of the fact that Toastmasters is supposed to be a learning organization, and you don't really want the same people serving in the same roles year after year. And I mostly behaved myself for the past 10 years. I've played different roles, supporting roles. I've tried to support other leaders who in many ways have taken the club farther beyond what I had imagined. And to some extent, the fact that we don't have a new president, a brand new president this year, means that there was a gap in our succession plan. Now, I do have my eye on Annie, our new VPE, as a likely future president. But we had to put her through the ringer first. Because if you know Toastmasters, you know that the VPE actually does all the work and the president just takes all the credit. And so she's going to have to survive a year of that with me. But with that, let's carry on and let's have a great meeting. Let me turn it on over to our Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Andrew Byrne.
Thank you very much, David. Applause and heartfelt thanks for all that you've done for the club and in its creation. We've traveled the road together. We now begin our meeting. Today is, at least on the East Coast of Florida, and in the Eastern time zone, we are at 8:04. So we're a little bit ahead of our timed agenda. We look forward to the tip of the day from past President Joni Lalo. She's going to be talking about Base Camp 101.
Just before we do, Andy, we do have an induction of a new member.
That is listed
directly under the just before your name, in fact, after the installation of new club officers.
Yes. Okay. And are you doing that?
I am indeed.
It's my fault. I was supposed to hand it over to you, Graham. I meant to do that.
No worries. No worries.
All right, Graham, go ahead.
Thank you, Toastmaster Andy. And for those watching this replay thinking there's a lot of formality going on tonight, that's because this formality is actually fairly important. We've just had the installation of new officers. That's an important milestone in the club's experience, and we now have a member induction, and that's an important milestone in the membership of our new member. So with that, fellow Toastmasters, it is now our duty and privilege to induct a new member into Online Presenters Toastmasters Club. This is an important occasion both for this new member and for our club. They've come to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication and leadership skills, and we now have an opportunity to help them learn, grow, and achieve. Rowan Devar, you are joining a worldwide organisation that has helped more than 4 million people learn to communicate more effectively. As a member of the Online Presenters Toastmasters Club, you will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You'll become part of an outstanding group of people who are dedicated to helping one another in a spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Membership in this club and in Toastmasters International is a privilege which carries with it many rewards, but it also places certain obligations on you. We're a group of people brought together to do things which we could not accomplish alone. Our collective obligation is to grow and improve ourselves and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members in a spirit of enjoyment. This means that you will need to work diligently toward your own self-development, evaluate other speeches in a spirit of support and sharing, assist the club in reaching its goals, remain positive, and keep a smile on your face most of the time.
Yeah.
We ask you, our new members, to dedicate yourself to personal growth, to share this great gift with your fellow members, and to help keep this Toastmasters Club strong and dynamic. Do you, Rowan, agree to attend meetings regularly?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Prepare fully for each assignment? Apply yourself to the projects outlined in the Toastmasters education program? Participate actively in club activities? evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner, build open, friendly relationships with fellow members, and bring other new members into the club so that they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters? You agree?
Yes, sure, I will do it. Yeah. If
In
anyone are interested, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that. In response, we, the members of Online Presenters Toastmasters Club, pledge to support you in your quest for self-development, to provide you with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, to give you opportunities to help others, and to make your Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Members, will you now please unmute and welcome our newest member, Rowan Davar. Yay, welcome one of us, one of us, one of us. Welcome, Rowan.
Thank you.
Welcome, Rowan. And we look forward to helping you in your journey of growth. I now hand control of the meeting to the Toastmaster for the evening, Dr. Andrew Byrne.
Thank you very much. At this point on your agenda, you'll see that we have a unique feature of the club, and that's called Tip of the Day. That's where a member brings something of value to our everyday operation in Toastmasters and in life. And we are going to be hearing from Joni Laidlow, who will be sharing with us Basecamp 101. Go ahead, Joni.
Thank you. But first, I'm going to ask our Sergeant at Arms, Dr. Sunny, if she can make me host, because I did return it.
Okay.
To enable me to share.
Sure. I thought I made you host. One moment.
And Sonny, if you can make me a co-host, I can make sure that Joni's picture is blown up there.
All right.
Joni,
So
who are you? What is your...
You know, I ask myself all that question quite a lot. I'm assuming this is philosophical.
Yes, chat monitor. I had to find you.
Well, I am being quite chatty today. All right, excellent. Now this goes out to all of our new members. Now I know I'm not the VPE anymore or the president. I am, however, the immediate past president, and a part of that is actually guidance. Now, the first thing I'm going to do to guide is this. Most of us are advanced members, which means we should already have done this, and we did. But a lot of us did it using a manual, which means that this experience is brand new. Now, I don't know if we're seeing my screen because, you know, internet issues. So let me know. Are we seeing my screen?
Yes, we are.
Now, David created a handy dandy website, which is absolutely great for tracking records, especially if you're like me, that you'll forget stuff. But this is the thing. The Toastmasters education experience is literally what you're looking at, toastmasters.org. And if you don't place it there, you haven't placed it, get this, anywhere. This is where your goals are tracked to see what you've done. And this is where you get the education part of the program. Now, I know everybody knows that cute little phrase, log in. And I hope we all saw me do that. The first time you're going to log in if you're new, because if you're coming from the manual, you're going to have to log in for the first time. If you scroll down on the screen, you will see log in for the first time. We're going to assume that everybody can figure that part out. But here's the part that's actually important. Basecamp. This is where everything actually does occur. Now, all you have to do is click on, go to Basecamp. And once you get there, you will see all of the education material that you need in order to go through the program. But Joni, what does that mean? Don't we just give speeches? I hear everyone say, yes, we do. But the framework of Toastmasters in order to achieve is laid out via Basecamp. Why am I telling everyone this? Well, I'm actually helping Annie out. Your projects are actually here. This is where you go to find the information and to make future plans. Can you put your speeches on the agenda and get the evaluations on our handy dandy website? Of course you can. But this is where you actually gain the information that will assist you in putting together the speeches. For our competent communications, this is where the manual is. This is where you find all of the information, the overviews, the checklists, and just like the manual, all the information that you will need in order to say, find out what your learning style is. This is also where you're going to need to submit it so that the club will get credit. Now it's a lot, and I won't be able to go through everything. It actually takes me about an hour to do it, so we won't actually go there. But the last and most important thing that I want to make sure that we all know is this tab right here that says Education Program. Why do I need to know what that is? Well, I'll tell you. If you haven't already chosen your path or even looked over the paths, or you're wondering because you used to have a manual, but things are different now, even though, by the way, the manuals are there because there's now a manual path, but you can find all that information out on this page, including the education program facts. And when you've been through everything and you are now at the point where you are ready and rearing to select a path, you will also do that there. Why do I prefer online to a book? Well, this beautiful thing right here called Basecamp videos. We might always not be there because right now I think it's tomorrow for Graham and Annie is sometime in next week, and you won't be able to do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. But the Basecamp videos will be there, and they'll be there all the time, except when Toastmasters goes down temporarily for maintenance, but that won't be that long. So look through, go through, select your overview, your path, learn about it. If you haven't selected one yet, take the aptitude test. That always helps. And with that, back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Joni. And we will ask our timer how long that was.
Oh, I wasn't timing it.
Okay, so we won't ask the timer how long it was.
I didn't know I was supposed to time that.
Okay, we in this organization we time everything that we do. So our next person up on the line is our speaker for today, and I found her introduction, and it's Allison Blakeman, and here is her introduction. Our next speaker believes that championship results are not created at the finish line. They are built through the choices, preparation, and discipline we begin today. Please welcome Allison Blakeman with her speech, Champions Begin Today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dr. Byrne. Our 2027 Toastmaster Championship begins today. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guest, earlier this year on February 8th, the Seattle Seahawks walked onto the field for the biggest game of their season, and for some, maybe the biggest game of their lives. Millions were watching around the world. The stadium was filled. Cameras were rolling. And when the final whistle blew, the Seahawks were Super Bowl champions. But let me ask you a question. When did the Seattle Seahawks decide they were going to win the 2026 Super Bowl? Was it that morning when they woke up, at breakfast, or at lunch? Did they say, we're going to win the Super Bowl tonight, let's do it? Was it when they entered the stadium or scored their first touchdown, gained yardage, blocked a field goal, blocked a tackle? No. They may have received the trophy that day in February, but they decided to pursue it months earlier during the hot summer training sessions. They decided when there was no championship hats, no confetti, no television cameras, no trophies waiting on the sideline, no interviews, no trip to Disney World or a parade. They decided during those early morning practices when they were sweating, when the heat was overbearing, during the conditioning drills, during the repetitions, during the mistakes and corrections and difficult days when nobody was applauding them. The championship was not won during that one game. It was won through the hundreds of small decisions made throughout the season. How does that apply to Toastmasters? Well, the last month and a half or 2 months was very grueling for me, being a part of multiple clubs and being the Southern Division director, because there was a push to become distinguished and get clubs to renew, get the membership drive up. And it was really grueling. And that made me think, when did a football team decide to win the Super Bowl? So today we're starting a brand new Toastmaster year, and I want to challenge you today. We're standing in our very own version of training camp right now. Joni walked us through Toastmaster Base Camp and navigating the website. There may not be a football field. There may not be helmets, uniforms, or coaches carrying a clipboard, although David may walk around with a clipboard throughout the year as his role as president. But we have something just as important. We have a brand new year. It's a new opportunity to grow, a new opportunity to lead. For our newest member, your journey with online presenters has just begun. There's new opportunities to become better communicators than we were last year. New opportunities to grow. The question is not simply what will happen this year. The more important question is, what are we willing to do to create the year we want? I heard people in the introductions talking about they set a goal to become a distinguished Toastmaster. Several people had mentioned the desire to become a distinguished Toastmaster. I want to ask you a question. What's stopping you? It's summer training camp right now. We've got until June 30th of 2027. You can do it. I'm almost there myself. We can become successful Toastmasters, have a successful Toastmaster club, but it doesn't happen toward the end of June when there's a mad rush, when awards are presented, accomplishments are announced. It begins right now, today, at the beginning of the new Toastmaster year with the induction of our new officers today. It begins with 3 decisions. First, we must decide that what winning looks like and means like to us. Every player on a football team may share the goal of winning the championship, but each person has a different responsibility. The quarterback has one assignment, the receiver another, the defensive coach, the offensive coach. Everyone has a job. And as officers and members, we each have a role. The trainer, they're there to help. That's what our coaches are for. Toastmasters works the very same way. Winning look different to us. For one person, winning may be delivering that first icebreaker speech. For another, it may be completing a pathway level. It may be giving a keynote speech. It may be doing a distinguished Toastmaster product or entering a speech competition. Maybe even serve as a club or district officer. Could be someone needs help becoming more comfortable on camera. Learning to speak without reading every word, ad-lib a lot. Your victory doesn't have to look like someone else's, but you must define what it looks like. Secondly, commit to the practice. Everyone enjoys the championship moment. Everyone wants the trophy, but not everyone wants to go through the training. I gave a 15-minute speech on Toastmasters in front of 200 people at work. I got a lot of compliments from the Speechcraft Club group at work. And I told them what they didn't know is I spent about 4 hours on the slides, and I spent about 2 hours practicing the presentation that I was giving in front of 200 of my peers plus senior leadership. It doesn't happen to say, oh, I want to give a speech and then walk out or schedule the speech and do it. You've got to practice. I sit here at my desk and I read transcripts and I practice. I turn on my webcam and I practice in front of the webcam before I ever join a meeting. Some people may want the confidence, but not always the uncomfortable speaking opportunities where confidence is created. Championships are built through repetition, because under pressure, a player just can't stop and say, hey, David, wait a minute. Let me figure this out. Dr. Byrne, what am I supposed to do? Preparation must become instinct with us. Third, it's a team effort. This was the first Toastmaster club I ever visited about 2 years ago. I was blown away. I was blown away by the professionalism, the friendliness, the welcomeness of Joni, Marianne, David, Andre, and the others. They made me feel at home, and I wandered in, and I never left. It's a team effort. It's everyone on the team. The Seahawks didn't win because one person decided to play every position. It was a team. They need people who trust each other, encourage one another, and do their part. A strong club is built when our members volunteer and participate. Sometimes the victory will come from delivering a speech. Sometimes it will come from helping someone else. But when one member grows, our entire club grows stronger. So before the meeting ends tonight, I want to challenge you. Decide on one Toastmaster goal for the year for yourself, and you can do it. Choose one role you've never accepted. Don't wait until January to become committed. Don't wait until June to realize what you could have accomplished. Lace up your shoes, step onto the field, choose your goal, support your teammates, and let's begin today building a championship Toastmaster year. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please give your applause to Allison for that excellent speech. My agenda says that we're right on time for hearing a prospective member speech, and this is going to be conducted by the Vice President of Membership, who is going to introduce our prospective member doing their speech.
We don't have any today, so that gives us 3 minutes. Although we haven't actually introduced the vote counter and the grammarian and the chat monitor and all those people. I assume they know what they're doing, though.
Okay, so your pleasure. We can introduce all the additional roles. Normally, we would have a vote counter where that's considered important is when you have more than one speaker to vote upon. But since Allison is the only speaker, she by default is the winner. Yes, Allison, you are the winner. It's always the best way to go into a race or a contest, be the only one there so that your winning is assured. And we will get to the voting later on when we have more people to vote on, hopefully during our Topic Master section. Are we up for that? It's 8:33. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, but Graham, you're head of the table topics, and that's impromptu speech. Can I have the timer tell us what the timing parameters are for the topic?
Yes, for table topics, normally there's a recommended to have 1 to 2 minutes. At the first minute, I will raise or have the green background here. At 1 minute 30 seconds, it is a yellow background. And at 2 minutes, it is the red background. And if at 2:30 you're still speaking, you get the big blooper. Oops, you've gone over.
Thank you very much. And I turn the program over to Graham Carnes, who is our topic master today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dr. Andrew Byrne. Members, guests, Table Topics is your opportunity to speak extemporaneously. I have a series of topics here. You've got no idea what they are. You get no time to prepare, and we ask you to speak for between 1 and 2 minutes, which sounds either not very long at all or terrifyingly long, depending on how good you are at impromptu speaking. My intent is that I will ask a couple of members questions, and then guests, you will be given the opportunity to participate as well. You, unlike members, have the opportunity to say, look, I'd really rather pass if I may. Members, you don't get that opportunity. Now, In a face-to-face club, the recommendation is that I would announce the topic, then I would call on the speaker. So everybody thinks about the topic. But given that we have to turn microphones on here, I'm actually going to announce the speaker first and then announce the topic. So I'm going to start with John Christensen, since he's not down on the agenda doing anything else. So John, if you can turn your microphone on, your question is, where do you spend most of your time when you're awake? Where do you spend most of your time when you're awake, John Christensen?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Topics Master. That's a tough question. Is work included or not? Okay, in the morning, I like my back of my house faces east, and my dog does his number one business out back. So I usually sit out there and watch the sun come up. If it gets kind of warm, then I go walk in the shade and hug the houses out that way. Then I'm back at the desk and working if I'm not going to the office. If it's a weekend, like Sunday, I hit 3 farmers markets. I hit one I haven't hit in a long time. Went to La Jolla Farmers Market. It was massive. Took 30 to 40 minutes to find parking. But it was awesome. They had so much stuff. They had organic fruits and vegetables. They had prepared food. They had people trying to get you to try on fragrances and oils, which I didn't care about. But it was amazing. Other times, I will go to the dog park. We got a couple dog beaches here. We got Ocean Beach, we got Coronado Beach, and La Jolla Shores has a beach off to the side. So I used to go walk my dog there sometimes before the sun goes down. I love the peaceful feeling of the sun going down. Sometimes it gets hazy over there, and I can't tell from here because I'm about 20 minutes from the beach. So I will go there, and sometimes I'll turn around. It's like, it's no fun. And apologies for forgetting the word of the day. And thank you for the question, Mr. Topics Master.
No problems. Thank you, John, for that table topic. I'm going to ask another member now, and that is, who am I going to choose? Marianne Grady. I know you've already spoken, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Marianne, here's a question. I don't want to know about your best car. I want to know about what was your worst car. What was your worst car, Marianne Grady?
Okay, well, for me, that's easy. I've always liked convertibles, and over the years, I've had many. And I purchased many years ago, I purchased a Toyota MR2, and we lovingly called my little car Mr. 2. And Mr. 2 was so tiny, and it had caramel colored seats and a white exterior. And I just loved driving around until when I went shopping, I realized my car did not have a trunk. There's no room to put your stuff if you go shopping, and I like to shop. So this was a big drawback of that vehicle. It had 2 tiny little lockers behind the driver and passenger seat, which you can't really put too much in those. And for a big shopper like me, that's a problem. So pretty soon I got rid of Mr. 2, and I went on to, I think at that time it was a BMW convertible. And then I've had many, many different kinds over the years. And currently, I got diagnosed with skin cancer, and they told me not to get any more convertibles. So now I have a Mini Cooper, and it's pretty fun to drive, and I like it a lot. So that's my story. Mr. 2 was my least favorite car. Back to you, Topics Master.
Thank you, Marianne. How dare a Mazda not be? I know it's a Toyota. How could anyway. All right, moving on. I'm going to ask a guest now, and I'm going to start with guest CG. CG, can you tell us what was your first job? So, what was your first job, CG?
Thank you, Table Topic Master Graham. My first job. I haven't done different job anywhere. I am a profession, and I love nursing. This is the only job I did forever. But I love nursing because it is a calling. it's not just a job. The reason is it is just calling. We are helping people something beyond the limit we can. And nursing is something about something dedication and helping people something, because we are not dealing with the machine, we are dealing with human beings. So that's the reason I love my job every time with my passion. And I like more this job because I would like to volunteer some some time in my life. I want to become a mental health AOD clinician in this place. So I am on that journey to come up to that pathway for my communication and leadership skills. That's really important to deal with my clients. So thanks for asking this to me, but I know that it's a long way to go, and I love to be the part of this table topic every time. Over to you,
Thank
Graham.
you, CG.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I'm ex-military, and people sometimes say to me, thank you for your service, but genuinely thank you for your service as somebody who has needed nurses on more occasions than I would like to point out. I genuinely thank you for your service. Going to
Thank
move
you.
on
I'm
now
sorry
to,
for that. There is one more thing. My dog is poodle puppy. He was quiet till that time. When I started to talk, he started to barking. Sorry about that.
of course, a bit like Zaz walking in front of Ali while she was speaking. We cannot, our pets don't care about Zoom meetings. They're just going to have their way. Mitesh, you're a regular guest. You're also a Toastmaster. You know how to answer a table topic. I have a question for you. What is your physical exercise of choice? So, what is your physical exercise of choice, Mitesh?
Thank you, Topic Master Graham. My preferred choice of physical exercise is playing lawn tennis. I've been I first started playing lawn tennis when I was just 14, and then I took a break for study and career, but I rejoined my preferred choice of exercise, which is lawn tennis. And I love playing lawn tennis. I, I play thrice every week, and that gives me great pleasure. Keeps myself keep physically fit and active, and I'm full of energy and increased in stamina. So this is one of the preferred choice for me of exercise, physical exercise, which is lawn tennis. Besides that, I continue doing some walking and some physio exercises as well. Thank you. And now hand over back to Topic Master Graham.
Thank you, Mitesh. I could make a really bad pun about how I love lawn tennis, but that would be a really bad pun. I'm into competitive Trivial Pursuit. Guest Shruti Verma, if you're willing to take on a question, I have one for you. And that was, what was your favorite, we'll call it vacation. What was your favorite vacation?
This was a time when my son was a year old. We decided to go to Italy. Our trip was to start at Venice, go to Florence, spend some time in Tuscany, and then visit Rome. The trip started with in a beautiful weather of Venice, wonderful food, wonderful people, and my son, who was quite young at that time, really enjoyed being a part of this country which had culture, history, language. It was very enriching. So, my favorite vacation, which I would recommend everyone, if you have not visited Italy, to visit at least once for its beautiful language, for its lovely food, and for the history that's surrounded everywhere. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Shruti. Jocelyn, our guest Jocelyn, I have a question for you if you're willing to take this on. You appoint a personal assistant. What single task would you give your personal assistant first? So what single task would you give your personal assistant first?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Table Topics Master. I would meet with my personal assistant to first talk about my expectations of their role in the job. I think that's very important. And also to find out what his or her expectations are. And to make it very clear that I expect them to be fully present when they are on the job. And if they have any questions, to ask that of me. The first task specifically that I would give my personal assistant would be to look at my schedule. This is the schedule that I have outlined for myself. And based on your background and my expectations, what we've discussed, my expectations, your expectations, how would you streamline this schedule that I have set up for myself? And then we can discuss it and then make changes based on your assessment and our discussion. And we will try things, make changes a little bit at a time and see how well they work, and agree that if they don't work, we won't continue those. That is the first task I would give my personal assistant. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Helps if I hit the button to unmute. Thank you, Jocelyn. That was a fabulous response. I have one last question, and I shouldn't ask it of them because they're the general evaluator, but I genuinely want to know the answer to this question. And that is, Jim Barber, what is the most useless thing that you still have memorized? What is the most useless thing that you still have memorized, Jim Barber?
There's so many to choose from, Mr. Topics Master. My head is filled with useless knowledge. Absolutely, totally useless. I'll give you an example. Back in the, late 70s and early 80s, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I was a technical instructor. I taught computers, I taught programming by, I should point out, in assembly language. This is getting down real down and dirty, absolutely. And I could still tell you how the pre and post indexing, indirect addressing on the SEL32 supercomputer works. I'm probably, at that time, I was probably one of a few hundred people in the world that understood how it worked. At this time, I am probably one of the people in the world who knows how that works. So you can't get much more useless than that. No, these computers I've got, I hope that they are no longer in use by anybody. They are, your smartphone is thousands of times more powerful than these computers were. So, but at that time they were state of the art. They were really impressive. And as I say, I know how the addressing worked on those. I could still program in assembly language on those computers. And that is totally worthless and unimportant information. And my head is filled with that sort of stuff. So if I forget people's names or anything like that, you can understand why it happens. It's just filled with so many other things. My head is so full, my brain hurts. Back to you, Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. We bow down to you. Look, I still how difficulty with basic, beginners, whatever, basic, BASIC. I used to remember, I can't even remember what basic stands for. All-purpose symbolic instruction code, I think. But anyway, I never got into assembly language, much too hard. I do, on the other hand, you talk about having too many things in your brain. I remember a skit Alexei Sayle, British comedian, once did, which involved him saying that the human brain can only absorb a certain amount of information, and when new information is pressed in, something else falls out. At which point the person who was walking next to him said, "Did you know that the Nile was 7,462 kilometers long?" And he said, "I did not know that." And oh my God, I've forgotten how to breathe. And then dropped. I thought it was funny. Sometimes my brain feels like stuff's just pouring out because I can't fit any more in. That takes us to 43 past the hour, which means that according to the agenda, we've run out of time for table topics. I was invigorated by all of the table topics presenters here today, and I noted by watching the timer that they were all within time, so they are all eligible to be voted upon. Annie Martin is our vote counter. She will probably put a link up in the chat in a moment for us all to vote on them. But thank you, everybody, and I now yield control of the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Andrew Byrne.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful job that you've done, Graham. Our next segment of the meeting is, in many views, the most important, most valuable, most growth-inducing part of our meeting, and that's the evaluation, not just of the evaluator for the speech, but for all the ancillary roles that evaluate everybody that said anything during the course of the meeting. It was invigorating. To take us through that portion of the meeting, the general evaluator today is Jim Barber. You have the floor.
Thank you, Andy. And I would agree with everything that you said. The evaluation portion of the meeting is not only the most important, it is also invigorating. Just had to get that in before I forgot about it. Now I'm going to do something different. I've been trying to hone my extrasensory perception skills, my psychic abilities. And so I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I'm going to make a prediction that David Carr is going to be elected our best evaluator for this evening. We'll see in about 10 minutes whether that's true or not. But evaluating Ali Blakeman's presentation, I am pleased to announce our president and evaluator, David F. Carr. Take it away, David.
Thank you, Jim. That means I also get to be elected the worst evaluator of the evening, but at any rate, Allison, that was an invigorating, methodical march through these concepts, through the things that we all need to be reminded of in terms of how we need to get our exercise, how we need to go into training if we want to be a champion, if we want to be really good at anything. And so you opened up with the sports analogy, which I think was good, because we know somebody doesn't just wake up one day and decide to be a tennis champion or be part of a championship football team or baseball team or any other team. They have to train, they have to practice, they have to work up to it. And you had, of course, the classic technique of dovetailing back at the end to, this is where we have to lace up our shoes, step onto the field, and show what we're made of. And so very good structure to your overall speech. I will quibble with a few things. Well, actually, one positive, you have the podcast microphone right in front of you, or a high quality microphone right in front of you. And that is part of your brand, because if folks don't know, Ali is very active also in Podmasters Advanced Toastmasters for people who want to learn podcasting skills. But I'll quibble a little bit with your virtual setup. I don't know whether you're using a green screen. I suspect you might not be, but you got a little bit of that Force Ghost effect. The shimmering outline of your hands when you made a gesture. And I always find that to be a little bit distracting. And so it's a good reason to consider either getting that green screen, getting that good lighting to make yourself really stand out from the background to allow the virtual background to work at its best, or just not doing it, just not doing it, allow reality to show in the background, or do blur background, which is maybe a little bit more forgiving. So maybe consider doing that. I did wonder at times, even though part of your speech was talking about getting away from reading every word of your speech, I did wonder whether you were reading parts of it. And I don't know whether you were or you weren't, but it was maybe some of the eye contact or the lack of eye contact of looking into the camera consistently that made me wonder, is she reading? And so that just gave me something to chew on. Now, actually, the specific thing you told me to look for was, did you speak too fast? You sometimes have a tendency to speak too fast. You tell me you did not. So lace on your shoes, get out on the field. You're ready to be a champion. Mr. General Evaluator, or who is the General Evaluator? Yeah, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. All right, Maria, our timer, it looked like David came in time. Can you confirm that?
He sure did at 3 minutes, 23 seconds.
Outstanding. You can now pass your votes for the favorite evaluator of this entire evening and pass those to our vote counter, Annie Martin. While you are doing that, I'm going to call on for our various reports, starting with the Wizard of Oz, MJ Bush. MJ, you were listening for us for our fill pauses this evening. How did we do?
Very well. People did very well today. There were just a few by just very few, one by David, one by Marianne, one by Maria, and Mitesh, and CG. There was one so by CG, sorry. And there were a few repeats, one by David and 4 by Allison in her long speech. And everything else was really smooth, very nice.
Great, thank you, MJ. All right, our grammarian this evening was, I believe, Sherry Blake. Sherry, did we talk good?
Yes, we did, which is why I didn't note too many things. But in terms of the word of the day, okay, so the word of the day is invigorating. I counted. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm guessing I probably missed a few people, but I'm going to tell you who used the word of the day. Sunny, Marianne, Graham, Andy, Jim, David, and I'm sure there's probably others, but those are the ones I caught. Because invigorating was a good word to this evening. So I'm thinking maybe more people did use it. Now, in terms of the use of language, Matesh, I noticed that you drop words. And I'm going to give you an example. You said took break for study. So what you could have said is took a break to study. And I think you did that a few times in terms of dropping words, but that's the one I jotted down. Now, Shruti, based on your talk, you could have used the word invigorating. Matter of fact, you described invigorating as you were talking, all that energy. So that was a missed opportunity. I was waiting for it, at least during that particular talk. And David, I love the word quibble. We should use that word as the word of the day during one of our meetings. So I did like the word quibble. And that's it. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Sherry. All right, I neglected to write down who our watcher is, and I do not see the watcher listed. Who is the watcher this evening? Did we have a watcher this evening?
It's me. Yeah.
Rowan, great, outstanding. What did you see this evening?
Yes, this is my first time, right? So as per my thoughts, it was overall everyone has given the good presentation. The background was good, and it was a good hand gesture, like with the frames they have explained. So one more thing I have observed that for the guest Mitesh, while speaking, is closing his eyes. So make sure you open your eyes and try to give it, so it will be better for you. Yeah, that's it. So overall, great job, everyone. So that's my report actually. Back to you.
And a fine report it was. Your first time came out of the gate, starting out of the gate. That was wonderful. Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
All
Thank you.
right. Chat monitor. Joni, chat monitor. Were we chatty?
We were, but it was very invigorating. There were a lot of kudos, encouragement, telling everyone how great they did with what they presented today. There wasn't as much cross talking, so congratulations, online presenters. We're getting better when it comes to not interrupting our speakers. But overall, good use of the chat. Back to you, Jim.
Great. Thank you, Joni. All right, it's time for my evaluation of the meeting. Allie already received her evaluation on her presentation, so I'm going to evaluate the unevaluated portions of the meeting. And basically, I want to give kudos to two people in particular. One of them is Marianne Grady. Marianne, that was a wonderful officer. What's the word? I got so confused now between inauguration, induction, which whatever you welcome the officers in. That was so nicely done. I've been through some of those where they're boring, they're wandering all over the place. You did not do that. It was very well done, very well run. It was a master class in doing that. And speaking of master classes, David, as I indicated in the chat, your presidential address, those are, I don't want to name names, but sometimes I've heard people go off on a tangent and they get incredibly boring. You did not do that. Yours was interesting, it was pertinent, it was entertaining, and it was brief. I thought that was wonderful, a great presidential address. And that's my evaluation of the meeting. We are an incredibly professional club, and I'm looking forward to doing great things this coming year. And with that, I will not return control yet, because I'm going to ask our vote counter, Annie Martin, yes, how our different voting things went. Who were our best speaker, evaluator, and table topics?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jim Barber, for remembering. Yeah, well, we know who the best speech was, and rightly so, Ali, thoroughly enjoyable. Best evaluator, what did we say? Our new president, David Carr. Now, for something that was slightly more contentious maybe, but it did result in a tie of two remarkable table topics. I have done my best to get this David's very clever drum roll happening. I'm going to see if it works. Bear with me if it doesn't. If it doesn't, I do know who they are, and I'll announce them the old-fashioned way. Let me just see if I can share this. And then quickly do that. Right. And now I'll see if the drum roll is going to work. Yes?
I don't think you shared sound.
We couldn't hear it, but we could certainly see it.
Next time I'll share sound. But the important thing is the winner is, table topics. It was a tie. Jocelyn William and Marianne Grady. Congratulations to both of them.
Thank you,
Mr.
Annie.
General
And with
Evaluator.
that, I return control to our Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Andy.
Thank you very much, Jim. It's my pleasure to come on back. At this point in time, we've gone through our evaluations, and normally at this point, we return to the president of the club to introduce and call up our guests and ask our guests what they thought about our meeting and what they take away from it. So I asked the president of the club to do that portion of the meeting.
All right, thank you, Andy. So we're actually going to stop the recording to kind of mark the